Hi, my name is Maddux Vernon, and when I was 11, my father went crazy. Yes, crazy. In October of that year, my mom gave my little sister and I the exciting news that we were going up to Ohio to visit my grandparents for Halloween. Little did I know that my life was changing forever. Over the course of about a month, my father had a mental breakdown. He talked differently, looked differently. He became a stranger to my mom, sister, and I. He also held ideologies he'd never had. Subsequently, my dad moved out and my parents divorced. And though I was but a very dorky preteen, I suddenly had to grapple with mental health, losing a parent, and tap into the strength I wasn't sure I had. Now, dictionary.com's definition of resilience is the ability to recover readily from illness, depression, adversity, or the like. Buoyancy. Such a limiting group of words for such a crucial quality, don't you think? It means something different for everyone, but to me it means simply this: being able to find happiness after facing down an unexpected or previously insurmountable challenge in life. When we are young, many of us are told fairy tales whose lesson is often chase your dreams or imagination will set you free. The thing I find interesting about this is how much of those lessons can be applied in real grown-up life. Think about it. Every interesting and happy person you know has goals, and I'm sure they daydream about those goals. Winning that race, shaking on a business deal, traveling to a foreign country, it makes you feel better by just thinking of it. So try it now. Envision your wildest dream, no matter how far-fetched it may be. It feels good, right? Okay, well, what are daydreams? They are the answers we give ourselves when questioning what our future looks like. The important part is not always that we end up with that exact answer, but that we continuously ask that question. The questioning of my future was the most important step I ever took towards being resilient. After something traumatic happens, whether it be a bad breakup, losing a job, or losing a parent, asking that question of yourself is the defining trait between resilient and non-resilient people. I know that the questioning trait of daydreaming will continue to sustain me and make me resilient. After 5th grade, my mom and my therapist came to the decision that seeing my father all day, monthly, all day weekly for months was incredibly detrimental to mine and my little sister's mental health. It had gotten to the point where when other kids were on the playground playing, I had my nose in a book, always miles and miles away from reality. My teacher was even sending emails to my mom every day, telling her how I was doing. However, I believe my saving grace was my natural nerdiness. Those books I was always reading were the spark to my current daydreaming. They allowed me to believe that if the heroes in those novels could journey across the world and overcome incredible challenges, then so could I, right? Even though it was really hard, I always asked myself this one essential question on visits with my father. Would he determine my future, or would I define it? In a 2013 National Geographic article, University of Florida psychiatrist Eugenia Roth told the article's author that mindwandering activates different parts of people's brains, yielding access to previously out-of-reach information. He says this accounts for creativity, insights of wisdom, and oftentimes the solutions to problems that the person had not considered. So I promise, I have some scientific backup here. Perhaps daydreaming really is a way to conquer those insurmountable challenges. It literally gives us new ideas that couldn't be attained otherwise. When you hear the word daydream, you may think of some silly fantasy of flying or kissing that pretty celebrity. You know the one. When I hear the word daydream, I think of one of my most innovative solutions to overcome my hardest problems and a way to bring my dreams to life. Am I telling you to check out every time you have to do something difficult? Well, no, I wish it were that easy. What I am telling you is that daydreams can be a way to get through the pain of a difficult time in your life, a solution out when you feel backed against a wall. The best metaphor I have for this is when those two happy, smiling fitness instructors tell you to breathe through the pain. Now, I don't know about you all, but when my legs are on fire, the last thing I want to do is breathe calmly. However, upon trying it one day, I found that it makes the time go a little faster and the pain a little less. Flash forward to 7th grade. My mom and my therapist decided that seeing my father as often as we were was incredibly detrimental to mine and my little sister's mental health. The visits went down to once a month for maybe 2 hours with a professionally trained supervisor accompanying us. And though this talk is all about strength and resilience, I still can't go into the Waffle House where my 7-year-old sister and I endured a meal with him, or the bowling alley where I told him about my newfound love of music and my new friends from middle school, and he ignored me. Since I was older and finally gaining my confidence back, I told my mom and my therapist that I didn't want to see my father at all. I want to stress that this was one of the hardest decisions I have ever made and will ever make. But I realized at some point that I was going to have to start working for the future I daydreamed about constantly, walking the talk, if you will. And that began with trying to heal from my world being turned upside down. Flash forward to 8th grade. My mom met a fantastic new man, and he proposed to her. At first, the idea of trying to accept new step-siblings and a new father figure in my life was insanely hard. Then I remembered my daydreams from 5th grade. I dreamed of a father figure who would make my mom happy and one I could trust to stay. Remembering my dreams allowed me to adjust to a new challenge and ultimately fulfill the question I asked myself so long ago. Full disclosure, I'm not perfect. I still struggle with feelings of abandonment. At 11, I couldn't truly process how mental illness impacted my father, so it just felt as if he had left for no real reason. Though that period has ended, the ramifications appear everywhere. I have chosen to accept them as they come, and again, ask myself about what my future will look like, choosing not to dwell on the points of pain that sometimes occur in my life, but instead looking towards my future is something that I use almost every day. I know that dreaming about my brightest future during my darkest moments will continue to be my #1 strategy throughout all of my life. Spoken by Winston Churchill, my all-time favorite quote sums up my thoughts here today. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So, if you take away nothing else from my talk here today, know that you have the power to withstand the greatest challenges in life if you only choose to ask those all-important questions of yourself. I stand before you all here today, 5 years later, at 16 years old. I'm a pretty good student. I play the alto saxophone still, and I love it, and I've taken up exercise as a stress reliever. I have hilarious, supportive friends, a wonderful boyfriend, and 2 very adorable dogs, Peanut and Butter. There's your cuteness gratification. You're welcome. I don't say all of these things to brag, but to show you all the power of daydreaming, of how asking ourselves questions in the midst of challenge ultimately builds resilience. Thank you.